Adyen is the payments platform made for today, tomorrow, and whatever comes next. With Adyen's single solution, it's simple to accept all kinds of payments, in-app, online, in-store, touch-free, and beyond. And it seamlessly adapts with your business. So keep your customers happy and your business growing with Adyen. Visit adyen.com to learn more. That's ADYEN.com.
What's up, y'all? Champ Ron, the Minding Your Business podcast, episode number 298 coming your way, man. Listen, I've got a quick message that I want to provide you as we look to go into the holiday. Shout out to everybody on IG, everybody on Facebook, all of you that are across the many different DSPs and different areas where you can listen to pods. Spotify, Apple, all those different places. Subscribe to the podcast, 5-star, wherever you get your pods. That helps you continue to tap in with me as we continue to move the train down the tracks with the Minding Your Business podcast. I haven't done quite as many episodes as frequently. I've been on the busy side with a lot of different things, but shout out to everybody that's still remains supportive to the MYB community and still continue to support me on the podcast. I do have some really dope guests that are coming that are all set. Some of those we've had to move into January for recording time, but it's all good. Everyone has their schedules, including you and me. And so that's what we're doing. But we're going to get that together. Definitely for sure. I've got a ton going on. I want to update you on what I've got going on, what I've had going on, where I've been, all that type of thing. Want to answer some of those questions that you all have had and may have. And so we're going to get into all that. But first, the Minding Your Business podcast. Let's do it. Yeah. That's how we like to get this thing started off. I'm your host, Champ Ron. This is episode number 279 of the Minding Your Business podcast. And just to clear up something, I've actually recorded now over 290 episodes of the Minding Your Business podcast, because some are numbers, some have been special episodes and things like that that I've recorded, tributes and things of that nature. So in totality, I've actually recorded now over 290 episodes of the Minding Your Business podcast, going all the way back to August of 2017, man. So I definitely appreciate that. My good brother, Dominic Lawson, formerly of the Startup Life podcast, was a huge inspiration on me getting started. So many of you that are familiar with me are familiar with that story. What's going on, people? Everybody on IG, what's going on? Everybody on Facebook, what's up? So glad to have you. Just to update you on some things that I've got going on. Like I said in the intro, man, I am operating and running. I'm serving as president of River City Capital Investment Corporation here in Memphis, Tennessee. The mission of the organization is to attract, leverage, and deploy compassionate loan capital to Black, Indigenous, and women business owners in Shelby County, Memphis, Tennessee. Many of you know that I've had a banking background. My career has been in banking. It's now spanned over, actually close to 19 years now. It'll be 19 years, 1st of 2022. And I've had a great ride in that. I've been in entrepreneurship, you know, that I've been in real estate since 2007. That has been just tremendous, to say the least. I have done north of now 520 real estate deals between my own acquisitions and wholesaling, where I've served as a resource in a fiduciary way for end buyers purchasing property here in Memphis and other cities and states virtually around the country. I've been able to do that since 2007. You also know that I started in real estate buying. So, when I started, wholesaling wasn't the big thing. You got in buying yourself, right? And so I started in real estate, actually purchasing myself. My very first property that I purchased here in Raleigh, in the Memphis area, 3 bed, 2 bath. I'll never forget it. It's over near, for those that are familiar with Memphis, it's over Covington Pike and Raleigh LaGrange. So you know the area right there in Raleigh. Great neighborhood over there. That was the very first investment property that I bought. I purchased my own home actually in 2004. So June of 2004, I purchased my very first house that I lived in as an owner occupant. Very fortunate. 3 bed, 2 bath over by Shelby Farms in Cordova. Very first property I ever purchased. But the first property that I purchased as an investor was in 2007 there in Raleigh, which is an area here in Memphis, Tennessee. So since that time, I have now completed over 520 transactions in real estate, land, small multifamily, and of course, single family property. So I'm very fortunate, very blessed to have been able to do that and to have been in real estate, even for the time that I have. Of course, many of you and many others have been in real estate a lot longer, but when you've been in real estate for some time and you've gone through the different market cycles, you become really battle tested. And I've been able and fortunate to do that in my time. But yeah, so with River City Capital, that's our mission. My goal, and not just my goal, but the goal of our organization is we want to grow our loan fund, our loan pool that we use to lend to Black, Indigenous, and women-owned businesses. We want to be able to maximize that. We want to be able to grow that from roughly about 2.5 million right now is our current loan fund. We want to get that to 10 million in 24 months or in 2 years. All right. So how do we do that? Well, we accomplish that by a few things. One, working really close with our current funders and potential funders. Those are national foundations, man. Those are the Department of Treasury. Those are folks in the community banking area, particularly around CRA. Those are kind of our top area in terms of funders. So how we engage those, how do we not only tell our story, but how do we articulate that we're good fiduciary partners, good stewards, right, of the money that we give and how we're able to deploy that. And then how do we keep track with what's the impact of that funding, right? So we're not just giving money just to give it out or just lending it. We lend it at a low interest rate, little to no fees. And then how do we help from a technical assistance standpoint, business owners to be able to level up their business, right? So we provide the capital, but we also provide access to the things that business owners often need to level up your business, which is through systems, through people, through proper documentation, through access to strategic marketing plans, to the legalities that you need around your business and how you structure. So we do all that as a team, and that's what we do every day with River City Capital. Of course, my great business partner, Pauline, and I, and I've got several other business partners as well that are tied. Shout out to my guy, Jack. Shout out to Cedric. Shout out to Tabitha. Shout out to the entire team, my folks down in Florida, my folks up in Michigan. So, shout out to everybody that we are continuing to see deals and to do deals. And yes, deals have gotten a little tighter these days, right? Many of you are aware of that. I hear it all the time. And it just means you have to work a little bit harder. You have to work a little bit tougher. You have to have a little bit more of a tenacious focus, right? Particularly as the marketplace becomes more congested, more clouded. People are doing a lot of things. People are motivated by social media. And so they feel compelled to have to share and that sort of thing. And it's easy to get bogged down into what you see someone else doing and try to mimic it or feeling like you've got to share to have validity. And you notice that the folks in the Fortune 500, they don't do a whole lot of sharing on social media, right? I never seen Warren Buffett take pictures in front of a bunch of cash money. I never seen Oprah sit around in a vault or talk about every deal that she's closed or all that type of thing, because she's accustomed to closing deals. She's used to making plays. She's used to scoring touchdowns and that sort of analogy. So she doesn't feel compelled to have to share every time she scores. It's kind of like in football where, and again, it's entertainment, and some people feel compelled every time they catch the football or every time they run for a yard, they got to jump up and celebrate it. And then there's others who that's what they expect, right? That's the way they train. That's the way they go about their business. So I expect to win. I expect to score. It doesn't matter if you know my playbook or not. You can't stop me. I'm going right. You're not going to stop me. Right. And that's the mindset that the people at the very top tend to have, that I've slowly been able to adopt, although I've been sucked into the minutia and the matrix of being concerned about social media. I've been able to evolve and fortunate to evolve to higher level thinking. And so as that, we want to be able to do that, and we want to be able to tell our story, and we want to be able to do that in a way that's, not just about bigging us up, but it's about, what we do in the community. So everything that I've been about, whether it's this podcast, whether it's real estate, whether it's banking, River City Capital, is all centered around this one area of how to be the best fiduciary in the community. All right. So something else that I've got coming, I've got the Property Champs development experience, the course and the one-on-one mentoring with myself and my other business partners. Shout out to everybody here on the live. So, I've got that coming, and it's a little bit different because wholesaling has become big. Of course, wholesaling real estate has become big, particularly during the pandemic, as many people were out last year. It opened up the door. People had to spend time doing something, and they spent time in YouTube and they spent time online. They spent time in Clubhouse. And what they learned was that they want to have their own business, and real estate's the way to do it. And of course, particularly if you're not as confident, you don't have the cash or the credit, wholesaling is a really tremendous, dope way to be able to get into real estate. And so, that's something that I share in my training. I share how to do that organically. But the difference with me is I do it from a fiduciary standpoint, right? So a lot of times wholesalers are taught to just go out there and wholesale, connect with these end buyers, and really don't, after they get their assignment fee, they really don't give a damn about what happens with the property or the people, right? And it's funny, when people are poor, they care about all that stuff, but until it's time for them to make money sometimes, and then that sometimes that can go out the window about their care, because the assignment fee becomes bigger than the fiduciary duty of what they can be doing to support in the community, right? And so what I look to do when I teach is how to be a good fiduciary while you wholesale, meaning that you're vetting your buyers, not just can they close, right? But you're vetting your buyers for what are they doing, right? And do any of your buyers look like you? Are they from your neighborhood? Do they care about the community besides just the economics of a deal? Okay. And so that's where I come in and I share how you can actually work with your buyers, your VIP buyers, whatever that is, as you're building relationships, so that you're not supporting colonization, right? Because it's a shame when I see a wholesaler who just, sometimes unknowingly will be supporting the very things that they're against, right? They'll be champions against gentrification, which gentrification is good. Gentrification is a good thing when the people involved are active participants. So when the people involved are active participants in their own gentrification, that is a great thing. Where it's a problem is when people come in and colonize it. And being a supporter of someone coming in and colonizing it, which means this, you're going to give it to someone that's not of the neighborhood, that's not of the culture, so that you can get a $5, $10, $15, $20,000 check. And if they move the people out and send them to some rat condition property, they don't complete the rehab, they don't do it. They jack up the rent so that now only a certain culture can now live in that community. You've just become an active participant in the very ills that many speak against, right? So that's where I teach that. And that's a part of our culture with the Property Champs course. So that's going to be out very shortly. I've got some videos to record on that. And then I'm going to have that out shortly. It's going to be $297. And that's going to be access to several resources, including a private Facebook group, a Slack group, many of the documents and that sort of thing to be able to begin doing deals. Now, like I mentioned earlier, it goes beyond wholesaling, right? Because wholesaling is basically you're an unlicensed agent, right? That's really what you are. And what we all are. Nothing wrong with that. That's a great thing. That's a really dope way to get into the industry. But there's nothing like creating the passive income in real estate. So you can be a buyer as well. You don't have to limit your thinking, right? And so what I also teach is how to be able to leverage wholesaling into being able to do your own deals, which you can do. It doesn't matter if what you're staring at as your credit report, what you're looking at as your bank account, things like that. Yes, you have to have money to market. So I don't say like no money, right? People that teach, no money you have to put into it. No, every business you go out to invest. Okay, you're gonna have to invest, and so yes, you're gonna have to have some level of money to market and to be able to gain access to speak with sellers and things like that. Not a lot of money, but you will have to have some. But we want to teach that in a very streamlined, compassionate fashion. But we're going to challenge you and hold you accountable to going and getting results. That's what it's about, and challenge you to hold yourself accountable to doing that. So it's not about flash. I'm not going to have no fancy videos with me flying through the sky, and I'm not going to come pulling up in some rented car, and I'm not gonna go take pictures in front of nobody's jet. Y'all know me. Nah, I don't come from that world. So you just go get it straight from me. That's how we do it. That's how Champron operates. Is to be a champion, you come, you're legit and you're authentic, and you just be your authentic self. And that's going to speak for itself at the end of the day. All right. So look out for that as it comes. So I wanted to give y'all some of that update on kind of what I've been doing and where I've been, and what you can expect from the podcast going forward. So quickly, before I wrap this up, one of the things going into 2022 that I want to share is make sure that you can articulate, like I was just doing. You've got to be able to articulate your why when you're doing business. Okay. And you need to be able to do that personally as well, personally or professionally. People need to understand what your why is, right? And so let me break that down a little bit, because sometimes people don't always understand. Because sometimes you all get frustrated with your business. It's tough to get support. It seems like people don't connect with you on your business and things like that. They do personally, right? But they may not in your business and professional. And one of the things that I've learned is that you have to become very good at articulating your why, because that's what really touches the heart. Why are you doing that? So if you say you want to get into real estate, why? That's what you challenge yourself, because you're challenging your motivation. I've had business ideas, right, where my why didn't have any substance. It was rooted in vanity. It was rooted in wanting to be a big shot, wanting attention, right? You got to be real with yourself, okay? Now, you can lie to the people all day long, but you got to be real with yourself. And so anytime I've looked at a business idea and I said, okay, what's my why? Why do I want to do this? Is it just to make money? What happens when I don't make money? Am I going to stop doing it? Right? If it doesn't make money or it doesn't make money right away, is it to get attention from the opposite sex? What happens when that don't happen? Right? Is it you just like to hear your voice, or you just like I don't do the podcast just to hear myself talk, right? I like to be able to share this type of experience and insight with you so that hopefully you could take this and make it a part of yourself and how it fits with you, and it helps you be a little bit better. And maybe you can avoid costly pitfalls and things like that that me and my guests have, that I have on the podcast have been through. But that's how you articulate your why. So you got to be able to share what's your story. How do you got, if you want to be on TV, if you want to write a book, if you want to, again, get into real estate, you want to get into philanthropy, whatever it is, you got to be able to articulate your why. When at River City, when we get grant opportunities and we receive grants from the different sources that we apply for or we get connected with, that doesn't happen because we're so pretty and so cute and so knowledgeable and we've got this great looking this and great looking that. It's not about how we dance on TikTok and or share videos and things like that. None of that comes into play. We've got to be able to articulate our why. We've got to be able to demonstrate that we have the knowledge and the capacity and the reputation for results to get things done. We've got to be able to respond to things in a timely fashion. And we've got to show that we're legitimate out here in these streets and that we're a player. And so we got to be able to share. Often I'm asked, why am I in this area? Why did I come in this area from banking? Why do I do real estate? Why do I look to do deals? Why do I look to buy land? Right? Why? Like buying land, that's not sexy. So a lot of people aren't into that. Right? Doesn't have the sex appeal. You don't see a bunch of folks on YouTube doing it. Right? Certainly not younger people. So then people say, well, why? People don't see the exit strategy. They don't see the sex appeal. They don't see it where people make a lot of money. Right? So you got to be able to share your why. Right? Think about your business. Think about your business ideas you go into 2022. What's your why? We understand all the impact things can have. And a lot of us are really good at qualifying things. We may not be as good at the numbers and how we quantify it. Right? But we can speak to the need of something really well. A lot of us are very good. We're very competent at speaking to the need of something and the needs of others. What we're not always as good at is being able to tell the why around it. So challenge yourself on that. Right? If your motivation is just to have a lot of followers, I'm gonna let you in on a secret. What happens if you don't have the followers? You just go stop doing it? What happens if those followers aren't legitimate? They're a bunch of bots. Like some of these folks go and buy a bunch of bots just to have the superficial look. What happens if you don't get the love that you're seeking from that? Right? So if that's your sole motivation, when you don't get it, it's going to be a buck stop. You dig? What's up, y'all? Am I in the house or what? Will this preach? What's up, Jack? So yeah, you've got to be able to articulate and share your why. If you can do that, that's what touches the heart. Like I've always shared with y'all, I'm not looking to be the best of anything. I just want to be the most felt. That's what I desire to be. So you want to know my why? I want to be the most felt. What does that mean? That means when the most felt is I still have an aura when I leave the room. I have an aura when I'm not in the room. When you're felt. Everybody's going to debate who's the best. Like I said, in sports, time goes by. 50 years from now, folk will forget about Michael Jordan. 100 years from now, they forget about LeBron James and Kobe Bryant and everybody else. Like the names are always go shuffle based on the generation. All right. So you can always debate who's the best because there's a lot of criteria that goes into that. Who's the best real estate agent? Who the hell knows? You'll debate that till the end of time. Who's the best wholesaler? Depends on who you're around. But who's the most felt? That often isn't debated. All right. Who had the widest influence? Okay. Not just popularity. Popularity doesn't always equal most felt. It also doesn't equal the best. You may have a message that resonates well. You may be good at engaging followers. You may be good at buying them. You may be good at browbeating people into following you. But at the end of the day, who's the most felt? So that's what drives me. That's what pushes me to do that, along with my family, my wife, my daughters. They hold me accountable, but they push me, they encourage me. Right. So what is your why? Think about that. Write that down. Think about what is your why as you go into 2022. You want to make a lot of money. Why? So you can pay bills, you can buy a bunch of stuff. Who cares? You have a nice car, you have a big house. Those are all good. All right. But what's going to sustain you? What's going to keep you going? What, besides superficiality and vanity, what is your why? Think about that. For your nonprofit organization, for your for-profit company, whatever the industry is, what is that? Cedric says, financial freedom, helping investors and sellers, building a better foundation for my family that created, what does it say? I can't see the rest of it. But yeah, Cedric's on the right path in that he's looking for financial freedom. All right. But so the next thing would be, Cedric, so what's the impact of that? So if you get financial freedom, what is the impact of that for you? And then what is the impact of that for others? Right? Besides yourself, how do other people benefit from you having financial freedom? So how do you benefit? How do you and yours benefit? But then how do others? Helping investors, helping sellers, you're essentially helping them to do the same thing, is to have financial freedom. But there's other freedoms that we want too, even besides financial, right? So how do all those things fit into that? And I like what Cedric's saying. And how does that fit into your story of how you got there? So how did you get to your industry? How did you get to desiring financial freedom? Walk people through that story, good, bad, or ugly, right? And you can control your own narrative on that. I appreciate that, Cedric. That's really dope. But think about your why. So as you're going into next year and you're sitting down, it's not about how fancy you can make the vision boards. It's not all that stuff, again, outside of superficiality and vanity. What is it for you? What's your why? And if you can articulate that and demonstrate that in your behavior, you're going to be cold in 2022. I'm going to tell you that right now, because there's all kinds of opportunities open up. There's all kinds of lanes that are going to be open for those that go hard, that forge good relationships, that can weather the storm, that can take the punches, because life's going to throw punches. Don't think that when you start making money, that's just going to be all good. Money solves a lot of issues. It doesn't really solve issues. It creates options. So what money does is open up lanes on your expressway. That's what it does. It's just like if you go on your expressway in your city or town right now, and they start adding lanes to it, so it gives you more options to drive forward, right? So if your expressway is 3 lanes and you expand it to 6 lanes, that gives you what? More option. Does it make you a better driver or anybody else a better driver? No. Right? Does it guarantee that your traffic is going to go faster? Not a guarantee. It helps, right? What does it do, though? It provides you more options. You have 6 lanes now instead of 3. All right? But it doesn't mean that any problems going away on the expressway. And in some cases, when you expand the expressway in this analogy from 3 lanes to 6 lanes, you add 3 more lanes of problems and issues and things that you have to address. So having a lot of money doesn't necessarily equate to having more joy. You might be happier because, best believe them folks lying. You get real happy. You get some money now. Let's not, come on now. Now on the Mind Your Business podcast, we're going to keep it real. All right. What's up, Cody? Yeah. When you get some money, you're going to be happy. But will you find joy? And that's where your why comes into play. Because now are you able to find the joy in things, right? Because there's, you know, everybody's your friend when you got some money. Trust me. Folks think you got some money. Cedric comes back. I got a whole plan to give back to the family that lost a child and we went through. Long story, but we could talk about it. Yeah, no doubt. I'd love to hear that story, Cedric. I appreciate your contributing to this, man. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Cedric speaking to something that, again, what's the impact for other people? Because other people go through all kinds of things. So like for me in real estate, again, everything that I do has an alignment. Like I mentioned earlier, everything, people think I do a ton of stuff. It's not that I do a lot of stuff. A lot of things, I've got a root tree. Let me use another analogy. I've got my tree. My tree is fiduciary duty. Okay. How do I be a good fiduciary? Now, the branches off of that are economic development, right? They're real estate. They're this podcast. There's the training course. All those are branches off that rooted tree of being a good fiduciary and sharing that with others to be a good fiduciary. I haven't always been a good fiduciary, personally and professionally. I don't come at this with, I was just born and I just, walked out the hospital as a newborn baby and was ready to just start doing stuff. No, I'm a product of training and development, mentorship, and at some point, people taking the chance on a knucklehead kid, right? So that's what it's about. So I challenge you as you go into this next year, challenge yourself and critically think through what's your why. When you're doing something, when you're adding on to your business, if you had a successful 2021 and you're adding on to it, right? You got some momentum. That's dope. Keep doing it. I love to see it. I don't do hater. You know what I mean? I love to see it. Tag me in your stuff. I like to know about it. You know what I mean? I can't support it if I don't know about it. So hit me up. Don't be ashamed. That's the thing. Don't be ashamed to share. Right? Don't, as you're articulating your why and things like that and you're building, don't be afraid to share. Don't worry about what people are going to say. There's always going to be somebody mad. There's always going to be somebody lying. There's always going to be somebody that's going to want to come and get you. That's the way life works. The way life works is it can beat you down to a pulp. And if you stay there, it'll just keep hitting you. Life's dirty like that. It won't let you up off the mat. You got to get up off the mat. So don't worry about that. You got a product or service, you believe in it, share that. Tag people. They go get mad. They go get mad. They don't want you to tag them in your business. If a rapper died, they want you to tag them. If a celebrity says something, they want you to tag them. If you got a trivial, question or things like that, or something that's going to get, it's about genders between, men and women and all that. They want to be there for them conversations. But people will get mad and put up and change their settings based on you sharing their business. I'll let you in on a secret. There are people on Facebook that have changed their settings because they didn't want me sharing the podcast or tagging them in the podcast. Then they'll come back and say, hey, I'd like to be on the podcast. When they see somebody else do it, you know what I mean? That's just how people are, or how some people can be. Don't worry about all that. Share it anyway. Keep going. Because expect the obstacles. Expect them. But understand your why and let your why be the root that grows into the ground that keeps you solid. Because if your root isn't solid, when the storm comes, inevitably the wind picks up. When you try to do on the good path, you're trying to build for yourself, for your family, for your community, the wind picks up. You understand? The wind picks up. The rain picks up. The sleet, the hail, the snow, the tornado, the earthquake, all that stuff picks up. And you may get knocked down. But if you got a solid foundation, like a good property, a good house, a good structure with a solid foundation, you can rebuild and you will rebuild. So if you find yourself in a rebuilding phase right now and you're watching other people do well and, they're posted on social media and, they're sharing, it seems like they never have no downside. Everything always works out for them. You keep working. Keep going. Keep going. You get denied. Your relationship, your personal relationship maybe doesn't go the way you'd like for it to, and you have to part from that or move in a different direction. Keep going. They talking about you, they laughing, they doing all that stuff, they making fun, they checking. Keep going. Yep, keep going. All right. Keep going. All right. So, this has been episode 279. I hope this helps somebody. All right. Hope this helps somebody. Support somebody and work by direction. Don't just be one side. Don't just ask people for support and don't reciprocate. Engage in reciprocity. Someone supports you, support them back. Make sure your why is tight. And if your why is tight, your 2022 is going to be right. You dig? Champ Ron, the Minding Your Business podcast. 3 things that always unite us. We all want to be a little bit better for ourselves, a little bit better for our families, and a little bit better for our communities. And if we can remember that in everything that we do, every encounter that we have, all that type of thing, we'll be just a little bit better. Champ Ron, the Minding Your Business podcast.
In the U.S. Army, you can make a choice to make your mark. With over 150 fields to choose from, join forces with us and take on anything. In the U.S. Army, you can make a choice to make your mark. With over 150 fields to choose from, join forces with us and take on anything.